Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started, it's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. Yeah,
get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, betcha this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling, welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, in this art he is king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping this track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I'm your host of the hardest part of the ring, Kyle Bird. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing today? Happy holiday season, everybody. Got your holiday shopping done, everybody? Huh? I haven't. Because I am the gift. Gonna keep the receipt, though. But, yeah, speaking of gifts, got a gift for you today. In total non-stop action, Turning Point 2006 also occurred in December, so it's roughly an anniversary show, I guess, of this show. So just, you know, an overall, a very holiday themed episode, huh? Jingle, jingle. But yeah, Turning Point 06, TNA, so we are diving headfirst into the Kurt Angle era of TNA. This is when things start really popping off. This show, of course, main evented by the rematch of Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe. If you'll remember from my previous TNA episode, which, by the way, if you have not checked that out, check her out in the archives. Hey, check out the entire timeline in the archive, by the way. Go to apronbump.com, go to the episodes tab, select TNA, and that'll bring you to all of the TNA events that I've reviewed, that I've covered, starting from their very first 3-hour proper pay-per-view in 2004, all the way through 05, and now all the way through 06. TNA is a special creature. It is, I mean, we're really getting to this era where it's just lots of wackiness, but just enough good shit to keep us going. So go check that out. Links also in the description below. Check out all the TNA stuff. It's always a good time. But yes, I was saying, this show, we got Kurt versus Joe 2. Their first match at Genesis 2006 ended up with Kurt Angle ending Samoa Joe's 18-month winning streak in a tremendous match. Kurt Angle's wrestling or his pay-per-view debut. So that was a big show. Now we got the follow-up here in a match that's maybe better. I think it's pretty similar in my opinion, but we'll dive into the nuts and bolts of the match. But it's, spoiler alert, Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle in 2006 was a good match. Spoilers, I know. But again, that's the last thing you see. So you're like, yeah, TNA is great. TNA is some good stuff. But then you got look, after I got finished watching this show, right? I threw this out in the Discord, which, by the way, also got a Discord going on. Also, link in the description. Give her a join ski, why don't you? We'd love to have you. But I threw this out in the Discord, and I was like, I'm starting to think TNA might not be that good. And I know it's very, to say it's not good would be wrong, but I think it's very hit and miss. This show had a lot more misses, I think, than hits. But like I said, it's just all over the place. It's hilarious to recap and to just talk about. But watching this show, it's like, what the hell is going on? Because you got like Kurt and Joe doing good stuff. You got Daniels defending the X Division title against Sabin, but even that's got its shenanigans. You got AJ Styles is beginning to turn heel against Rhino, and his asshole's out during this entire match. You got Eric Young in a bikini contest. You got VKM is here doing skits, challenging Vince McMahon. You got Kevin Nash in the X division. You got a flag match between, America's Most Wanted and LAX. America versus Mexico. No way this could end badly, right? So there's a lot going on in this show, and I think we might as well just get into it. But first, got to give a shout out to my lovely, lovely, delicious guest, Charlie from I guess he's still in the GETCHO podcast, cult faction, whatever you want to call it. Go check out Charlie on social media. He's a good follow on social media, as well as the GETCHO podcast boys, of course. Charlie, is. I think there's heat backstage in the GETCHO camp. I think there was an episode, a year ago or so where Charlie wanted to use real glass on the podcast. They wanted to do like a little bit. But Justin was like, no, we're not using real glass. And then Charlie was like, fuck you, buddy. And then he pinned him against the wall and choked him and fondled him. And it's a whole thing. I don't want to get into I don't know what I'm legally supposed to say, but a lot of drama, a lot of backstage heat. So Charlie is no longer with the GETCHO podcast, but go check out the GETCHO podcast. Anyways, I guess we had Just on just a few weeks ago. So, they're good boys. They talk about wrestling. They talk about pop culture. They blend the two. They do fun stuff. They have fun talking wrestling and whatever tickles their pickle. So go check them out. All that's in the description as well, wherever you listen to the podcast. And go check out Charlie. I think he has a mango cart under the highway somewhere in Chicago. I think that about does it, right? At Apron Bump. Follow me if you want. Subscribe to the YouTube. Leave comments, likes, ratings, reviews, belly button tickles, all of those things. And I think that's it. Let's get into it, baby. TNA Turning Point 2006 with myself and Charlie. Just Charlie. Charlie's here. He's hungover. He's gay. We'll be in this together. A couple of pretty Asians up in this bitch, huh?
All day, every day.
Are you on a work trip?
Yeah. But I knew I had this podcast this morning, but my dumb ass, I got fucking hammered last night.
Why do I feel like this has been the story like every time we've done a podcast together?
Probably, but this time is worse because I'm in Charleston, South Carolina. They told me that the female to male ratio was like fucking 9-1, and they weren't kidding. So I just went out last night, and I was like, "Oh my god!" But yeah, I got destroyed. Like,
man,
if you don't want to see so I had to kick my roommate out, and then and there's like puke all over the floor, so I'm gonna have to clean that up later.
So we're just gonna be talking about Kip James when there's just puke like right to your left.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, you know what? It's actually the perfect environment to talk about. It's not there yet. The puke. It's gonna be there. Let's get you have a pile for it to be designated for.
Just gotta add to it.
So how's life, man? I feel like it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's good. I know you guys know about my new house, but yeah, I'm on a work trip. I'm moving on up, so I'm actually down in South Carolina training new officers. They literally flew me out from Chicago to train new officers down here in Charleston. So I'm gonna be here for a bit. So
hell yeah, man! I have friends from Charleston. They say it's an awesome town. I've never been. I want to go though.
You know how many people have told me the second they've come here, they fell in love with the city.
Yeah, it's become a huge destination over the past couple of years, I feel like.
Yeah, man. I never knew. I honestly never knew how amazing this place was. But so far I've only been here for a week, so it's been all right. I can't complain. I'd rather, I miss home, but this is my second home, I guess. Cliches aside.
Okay, CM Punk. Yeah, we get it. You're from Chicago, Charlie. Jesus
oh my God!
Christ. Don't
even start with me with that bullshit.
I told you we're gonna be talking about TNA, but it's really gonna be CM Punk podcast.
This the hypocritical CM Punk podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Because we need more of those, right?
I can't wait when
Well,
he's on New Japan and we're like, I'm home.
when he's in the Battle of the Super Juniors,
Exactly. And all the Japanese be like, ah.
they'll eat it up. Oh, they love it over there. They probably
Oh,
love
they
them
would.
some CM Punk.
They would.
Wait, how would they go again?
Ah. Gazira.
Well, no Japs on this show, but I don't think, right? I don't think there were any. Well, I guess we'll ponder as we saunter through it. But Turning Point, Turning Point, man. So you got a chance to check out this little ditty of a program.
I actually went like since I forgot about this show, I went onto YouTube and I listened to a person's Cliff Notes version of it. So now I know everything about the show. It's gonna be amazing. It's this
Perfect.
little kid who like didn't know how to use his own camera, so he could only see his fucking forehead, and he's just like the 4 match was so good. So now I know everything about this episode.
Was it you? Was it your review when the show happened?
Yes.
What's I mean, this is probably like one of the weaker shows that I've seen from TNA. Personally, I don't know if you felt the same way.
You know, I never really watched TNA because like I
Yeah.
guess it was never like it wasn't that available. You know what I mean? So this was like one of my first like real dives into like 2006 TNA, and I mean I don't know what to compare it to, but I thought it was pretty good.
Okay, yeah, no, that's reasonable. I guess if you're coming into this like cold,
Yeah.
like without comparing to previous shows, the crowd I thought sucked throughout the entire show, but and it was very heavy on the segments, whereas TNA they've been trying to like cultivate this like identity of like being the wrestling company, which sounds familiar. But they're very heavy on the soap opera and the goofy segments here. I guess overall, what do you think of the show before we dive into it?
It wasn't horrible. I mean, like I was entertained, but I mean, we'll definitely get into it, but like that flag match, and oh my god! But other than that, I thought the wrestling quality is really good. I love like if I was watching like two hobos fighting, I would love to have Tanae and Don West call it, and
They
then
can
he
make
hits
it
him with
something.
another box to the head, and he pulls out a shard of glass. I'm like, these two guys can like call anything.
No, they're top three duo of all time, in my opinion, for sure.
100%, 100%. Who are your top two then? Just
Mike Adamle and Taz, and who would be the other one? I guess maybe Matt Striker and Vampiro.
play my fucking music.
That's all I think of when I think of Vampiro now. It's just a shame because they were actually kind of entertaining in Lucha Underground for a little bit, but
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I can't stand Matt Striker, but to each their own.
he's very divisive. I feel like I get it. I feel like Lucha Underground was probably his best work for sure.
Yeah. It's just that he just comes off as trying too hard.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, but you know, there's a balance between trying too hard and like, oh, hey, good, you're giving effort, kind of. I don't know, but
Yeah, it's like I'm cool, right, guys? I'm cool, right? I'm cool.
exactly. Yeah, we'll like him one day.
But yeah,
But a guy who never tries hard is Kevin Nash, who is here.
You mean the X Division legend?
The X Division pioneer, Kevin Nash, a man who has established the style that all of these gentlemen in this match utilize. So we got the Paparazzi Championship Series. It's the first of many matches, I guess, or many like competitions of some sort. But it's a 5-man elimination match. We got Jay Lethal versus Alex Shelley versus Senshi versus Sanjay Dutt versus Austin Starr. So I guess it's gonna be a series of matches over like impacts following this or whatever. But this is the first one. The winner of this gets 5 points, and then the people who get eliminated get 4, 3, 2, 1, depending on when they're eliminated in this match. So, so you said you never really watched TNA, so you're not familiar with all this Kevin Nash X Division tomfoolery.
No, not at all.
It's fantastic. It's the best thing TNA ever did, I think. It's because Nash is trying to give personality to the X division because it's a lot of guys that are like good wrestlers, but they need a little something. So they've been like they do skits on Impact and things like that. Nash thinks Sanjay Dutt is on gas. It's a whole thing. The Nash is probably the highlight of this on commentary, to be honest. I mean, the in-ring stuff was pretty good. But I thought it was a solid way to start the show. What'd you think about it?
Same, like it was fun, and like I feel like you asked me to be on any podcast that Senshi or Low Key is on
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh, here we go, another Senshi match. But no, I thought it was really good, and like I was wildly entertained, but mainly because of Senshi. That guy,
Yes.
that guy is like unintentionally is like my favorite fucking wrestler right now.
Dude, the way he annihilated Jay Lethal with that shotgun drop kick
Thank you.
just knocked his spleen out of his asshole, I think.
Like him and Kenta are two people that I don't think that they realize that wrestling's a work.
Have they ever faced each other?
They have in Ring of Honor. I think it was like a final
Oh.
battle that year, I believe, like 2006 or something. They faced each other,
Hello.
and then it was probably the most stiff match I've ever seen. Like very stiff. X videos style stiff. But like, yeah. Sorry.
Well, speaking of stiff, there's a lot of ball play in this match. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh, 100%. It was like poor, like freaking, what's his name? Poor Sanjay Dutt, man. It's like,
Oof. Do you think so? We got his nuts dragged along the top rope by Alex Shelley,
yep.
but it's like it's a smooth rope. So do you think that might feel good actually?
I don't know. I have to find out someday. Like those
I saw-
those ropes
I
right
saw-
now probably smell like Rogan Josh or Curry or fucking.
Does the sweat does your sweat scent depend on your ethnicity?
Yeah, like the other way. Like I hit my nuts on the table and it smelled like fucking basil chicken. So I don't know.
Oh, basil chicken. It's probably not that far off, to be honest.
I don't know. But you are what you eat, sir.
As true. That's why I am dog. So we got Lethal. Lethal and Alex Shelley. The way Lethal, they're like on a collar and elbow tie up, and then Shelley like straddles the middle rope to try to get out of the ring, and then Lethal just like casually kicks the rope up to his dick. Those were my highlights of the match, the dick and ball play. But and Senshi, of course, because this match is really it's 5 people, but in reality it's kind of like 2 teams, and also Senshi because it's Lethal and Dutt who are still together to this day, because they're aligned together, and Alex Shelley and Austin Starr, aka Austin Aries, are together in the paparazzi, and then Senshi's just bald in the corner by himself. But the ending stretch, I mean, so the eliminations kind of come pretty quick. Sanjay Dutt hits a cutter to Alex Shelley and then rolls into a camel clutch because he's, ethnic, so he has to do a camel clutch. And then so he has it on Alex Shelley. Shelley tries to get to the ropes, but then Austin Starr pulls the entire camel clutch to the middle of the ring, so Shelley has to tap out. So we got some tension between the paparazzi guys, which will come into play at the finish of this match as well. Low Key just disintegrates Jay Lethal's midsection with a kick for the elimination of Lethal. Then Austin Starr hits Sanjay Dutt with a punt to the head, a brainbuster, and a 450 to eliminate Sanjay. So now we just got Senshi versus Starr at the end. So Starr hits Senshi with a brainbuster and goes for the 450. But Alex Shelley's back. He distracts Austin Starr because he cost him earlier in the match. And then 450 misses because of this. And then Senshi's able to lock in a nice, tight, small package for the win. So Senshi wins, Low Key wins in a very prestigious match. They put the PCS. So good stuff, right?
100%. But it's like my one of my biggest pet peeves is like in an elimination match. You want to see people get eliminated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like like any time that Senshi broke up a pin, it fucking like it drove me nuts.
I think even commentary called it out like, oh, that wasn't a very smart move by Senshi. But
But
look, I think
so
he just wants to cause pain. So
I guess so, but there was this one part of the match where like so there was a pin happening, and Senshi like stayed on the apron. I'm like, oh my god, he learned, he figured it out, right? So
uh-huh.
so then I was like, sitting there, all right. Then the next pin, he went in and broke it up again. I'm like, ah, fuck.
He
Come on,
forgot.
man.
I don't even know if Senshi really knows like what the match stipulations are. I think he just goes out to the ring and just kicks people until they're dead. I
Oh yeah,
think
yeah,
is
no,
the thing.
100%. Like I was thinking about it too. So yeah, like you said, essentially it was a tag team match, right? And
Mhm.
then like Senshi was in the corner, and then finally he got tagged in, and then like he started like beating the living daylights out of everybody, and then sure enough, I was thinking about, man, someone needs to tag this guy out because he's about to kill everybody in this goddamn match. So mercifully, someone did, and I was like, okay, everyone's gonna be okay now. But other than that, you're right. Like the match did feel kind of rushed. Like all the
Uh-huh.
eliminations were just like bam, bam, bam. I'm like, okay, and
Yeah.
then like it didn't feel like it didn't feel like a good way to find like just give points to these people because it's like, hey, you managed to survive this clusterfuck as opposed to like, hey, you're a really good wrestler. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
yeah. So I don't know. It was cool. It was entertaining, but I could have passed on it.
Yeah, except that's kind of like the thing here is because with the X division, like that's kind of how TNA made their name, just off of the pure wrestling aspect of it.
Yeah.
But like Russo's there and all that shit, so he's probably like, "Yo, bro, we gotta give these kids characters, bro." So we're doing all this like paparazzi shit. Alex Shelley has the camp, which is like a lot of that's kind of it's like really entertaining. But I think like on a pay per view match, maybe just let these guys wrestle. I don't know. That maybe that's just me,
Yeah. Because
but
you already got people like in the door. You got people to watch.
yeah.
Let them wrestle. You're good. But I'll give you that though. Alex Shelley was probably my favorite person in this match because just his antics were pretty funny. Like
Mhm.
he played his role really well. And then like Austin Starr, oh my god, you could put it like you could put clown makeup on him. Couldn't have charisma. You're like what the fuck? I don't know.
He's
I wasn't into it. Like, it was to me pretty stupid, but whatever.
Austin Starr. Like this whole gimmick seems like almost not tongue in cheek, but it's like, look, I got tassels. Am I over now? Kind of
Yeah,
thing. Like he's like kind of mad about it almost. Like he's not
yeah,
playing into the gimmick. He's doing it like out of spite almost. So it doesn't really
yeah.
translate to I don't know. But well, we got something a little better after that. We got Jeremy Borash backstage with Eric Young. So Eric Young is in a robe. Why is he in a robe? You may be asking. Well, because he's about to be competing in a bikini contest. Charles, bikini contest versus Tracy Brooks. So Jeremy Borash is back there. He's hyping him up. He says, "Be a man and win this bikini contest." Jeremy Borash says to Eric Young. And then we move right into it. Tracy Brooks comes out with Robert Roode because Tracy is the what was her title? She was CEO, but it was like Chief Executive Offender or something like that. Something stupid. So she's out there in a big jacket instead of a robe, and Eric Young comes out in his robe. So let me ask you this: so you're a strip club aficionado, I would say, right?
I've only been there once or like 9 times, but yeah.
This week,
More
I guess that's the
times
vibe.
than to one last night, but
Were there any blow up palm trees at the one that you went to?
there was blow up stuff, but not palm trees.
Some people were getting blown up. But there's palm
$300.
trees. I don't even know where to begin with this, man. So it's a bikini contest, as per, anyone you've probably seen. I got the music, first of all, that these people are dancing to. Thoughts on the music?
I put it on mute actually. So
It was like not sexy music. It was like it was like music you'd hear at an Outback, like in the background. You know what I mean? Like,
I need to go to more Outbacks then. That sounds hilarious.
well, Tracy Brooks really bloomed her onion here because she took off her robe and it was like, I don't know, just a normal looking. I wouldn't call it a bikini. It was more of a I don't know, it was like in between a one piece and a two piece. It was fine. It was what 2006 hot was, I guess. Just big stupid fake tits, and that's pretty much all you need, I guess. And then
Shout out
Eric.
Terry Runnels.
Well, then the storytelling of Eric Young here. I mean, he takes off his robe to reveal a cover up with a picture of a bikini on it. It's fun. We're having fun. Rude is pissed because he demands a disqualification because that's not a real bikini, Robert Roode says. And Eric Young says, hey, wait a second, Buster. I'm not done yet. So he starts dancing again and unveils SpongeBob briefs that he's wearing. And then Robert Roode says, no, that's not enough cock and balls for me. That's not a bikini. So Eric Young says, wait, give me one more try. Eric Young says, takes off his briefs to reveal another, just a bikini, I guess you would call this, with more SpongeBob on it because it's fun. And then the fans vote and they deem that Eric Young wins, has the sexier ass. And this is good stuff, right?
Well, I mean, it's wrestling comedy. You know what I mean? Like that's all I gotta say. Because even back in like WWE, WCW, it's like if the wrestlers find it funny, they're gonna like put it on TV. Be like, oh, everyone's gonna find this funny. So of course, SpongeBob shorts are hilarious. It is what it was. It was just a way to like a time filler, a way to show off Tracy Brooks' body. I mean, I'll give credit to who I want to give credit to. Two people, Borash and Rude, because like those two had to know this is fucking stupid as shit. But Borash goes in there like, you be a man, and you win his bikini contest, straight face. And Rude played it up beautifully, where he's like, in the end, he goes, you get Eric Young to join us because if people love him, they're gonna love me too. And he says it like a stone cold look on his face, and I was impressed. I was saying, all right, he doesn't believe this shit, but in the end, it's like he's gotta say it was what it was, and mercifully, it wasn't that long.
Yeah, like the story behind it actually isn't that bad because I should have laid this out in the beginning because Robert Roode and Tracy Brooks, they're like a tandem, I guess, but Robert Roode hasn't been having the success that he's been wanting, and he blames it on Tracy. And on Impact leading up to this, Robert was like, yeah, you couldn't even beat Eric Young in a bikini contest. And Tracy's like, well, I'll go challenge him to one, and that's why we're here. And like I said, after the match, Eric Young wins the bikini contest, and Rude's like, hey, what's your problem? I want you to go to Eric Young, and you do anything you have to do to get him to join Robert Roode Inc., which is more or less saying that, hey, go suck off EY so I can get over as well, pretty much. So it all makes sense, I guess. But I don't know. I'm just waiting for beer money at this point. This era of Robert Roode is like, I could take it or leave it. But you might be thinking, well, after that, we're surely to get some good wrestling. Well, first, before that, we got to go to the DX locker room. What does DX stand for, Charlie, if you remember?
Degeneration Xer.
No. It's dumb to the extreme. Because Paul Levesque and Michael Hickenbottom are here in the Impact Zone. They have their locker room, and the interviewer backstage is trying to get word with dumb to the extreme, but they won't let them into their locker room. Now, this is the time period where DX is back on WWE. They're doing the cock skits and the fat guy with the stroking his pole and the oil and all that shit. So this is that time period, and we're gonna get more references to that later. But it's kind of like a running thread throughout the entire show for whatever reason. I don't know. What are your thoughts on TNA like poking WWE at this point? Do you feel like it helps, hurts, or does nothing?
It hurts 100% because it gives off that feel that like WWE is like lives rent free in their heads. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just like yeah, fine. You're showing defiance by like making fun of them, but in the end, it's like you're technically putting like what's the old adage like any fuck
I
um
don't know.
any publicity is good publicity or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. So it's like it's in the same thing. It's like you're talking about another group, and on your own show, it's sort of like it just gives off like you're like the whole idea was like you're using them to like put yourselves over. You know what I mean? So it's like it just
Hmm.
comes off as like basically desperate. It was pretty stupid. So yeah, I thought it was dumb, and like anything that had to do with that part of making fun of DOD, I couldn't watch. I was like,
Yeah. No.
fuck this.
Yeah, desperate's the right word. It definitely makes them look like a little kid, like pulling at an adult's legs. Like, hey, pay attention to me, please.
Mhm.
And it's like, because they've done this before, like several times. There was the whole thing where like Abyss and R-Truth went to the commercial they were filming WWE. I don't know if you've seen that, but like Rey Mysterio was there, and it was like a whole thing. They've made like they've had other skits of guys playing Vince McMahon, and it's like nothing's ever like worked. Nothing's ever like pulled viewers from WWE. I just don't know what the end game is here, but again,
Mhm.
we'll get more into it with the segment later. Um, but after that, we got some actual wrestling. Wouldn't you know? We got the X Division titles on the line with a special guest referee, Jerry Lynn. We got the champion, Christopher Daniels, facing off against Chris Sabin. So Sabin's been disrespecting his elders. This is pretty much the backstory here. He's been disrespecting X Division pioneer Jerry Lynn. I think his name is Jeremy, actually.
Oh,
Jeremy Lynn. And has been disrespecting Daniels. So Sabin's kind of just this cocky dickhead heel, I guess. Heel Sabin. The match happened. It was pretty good. I don't know. What'd you think about the match itself, I guess?
the match is pretty good. Like whenever you see a special guest referee, you're expecting shenanigans shit like this. But like
Uh-huh.
Jerry Lynn, I feel like he's done refereeing like in his career or something like that because it's like I couldn't tell the difference. Like he was actually a decent ref. I thought
Yeah.
like I thought he was decent at it, and like he didn't take away from the match at all. So I thought it was pretty good. Um, yeah, I mean like Saban did a great job of like of mixing his dirty tactics to his wrestling. He was just kept
Uh-huh.
like eye pokes and hair pulls, shit like that. But he's so good in the ring. He's like really smooth and
Oh,
of
yeah.
course Daniels is Daniels. So I thought it was actually a decent match. Not much to say other than I would watch it again and with once again the whole idea with like having a guest referee usually takes away from a match. This one was like they didn't skip a beat.
Yeah, this is like as much of a clean cut match as you'll get from TNA in this era, for sure.
Okay.
And Saban, like you said, utilizing the heel tactics, which when I'm like seeing heel Chris Saban, it's like that doesn't really make much sense. But I thought he did a pretty good job at he did a hip toss onto Daniels on the stage, and then he did this goofy thing where he like ran from the top of the stage to the bottom and just did a shitty little fish drop just to like kind of rub it in his face. And there was a lot of that, like the eye pokes and stuff like that. But I thought first of all, Daniels, I thought looked great in this match. There was one spot where they were fighting on the outside. Daniels like hurdles up into the ring, slides in the ring, then hits the ropes, comes back, does a beautiful wrecking ball drop kick through the ropes, and then goes back up as Saban is on the concrete floor and does a cactus jack elbow from the second rope, which is the most beautiful version of it I've ever seen in my life. He did it like he was about to land on like a trampoline. He just went for it completely, which was insane. I hope he never did that again because that looked brutal.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though. Like I remember that. I remember him doing that, and I was thinking to myself, like, all right, in kayfabe in real life, it just looks stupid to me. Like even though like the
Yeah.
move he did looked awesome, it's like okay, I'm gonna do this elbow drop on this guy and like jumping on concrete. So of course he lands the elbow, Saban's hurt, but he obviously just jumped from like 10 feet and land on concrete himself, so he's hurt too. And then after that spot, Saban actually had the upper hand the whole time. So in the end, it's like,
Yeah.
like, you see what I mean? So, so while the move looked great, the only thing that got over was the concrete. To be honest with you, like,
Yeah. No, it is very like, yeah, there's no way that Saban received more damage than Daniels there at that point. But
it's just me nitpicking. But like,
no,
like
that's
I
a
said,
good point.
100% like agree that it was a great move. It was a good spot, but yeah, to me, I was like, what the fuck? Like,
Maybe it leads to a Daniels heel turn, perhaps, because he's trying to appease all these smelly marks in the impact zone, and
that
he's
makes
just
sense.
destroying his body in this. And I don't know. Maybe we'll get there, but probably not. I did think the finish kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know. Did you get that kind of feeling? Because Daniels hits
Yeah.
the BME, and it's just like it was over. You know what I mean? No referee shenanigans, which maybe is a good thing, but at least not before the match ended. But I thought the finish was a bit abrupt, but overall I thought the match was solid.
100%. I agree with you 100%. But like, same thing. I didn't really understand the ending, like the whole shenanigans after the match, where like Daniels and Lynn got into a fight.
Yeah,
I
I don't know. It's like they were going for a swerve for the sake of a swerve because
yeah,
like Saban and Lynn have been having heat, and Daniels has kind of been on the side of Jerry Lynn. So after the match, Lynn gets on the mic and is like, "Hey Saban, be a man, shake Daniels' hand." And Daniels is like, "I don't want to shake his hand. He's a piece of shit." And Lynn's like, "Hey buddy, you better stay in here and shake his hand." And Daniels is like, "Nah, I'm not doing that." So Lynn slaps Daniels. And that's pretty much where we leave it. So I'm curious to where we go from there. But just weird. You can't just have a wrestling match. You got to have some soap opera tomfoolery at the end, I guess.
I guess so. It's like, show some respect. Shake his hand. Slap. It's like,
I'll shake your face, huh? I don't know. Well, that brings us to maybe my favorite part of the show. We got Jim Cornette out here. He's coming out to the ring. And I guess, what does he say? We got some dignitaries. Is that the word? Out to
so.
There's some baseball players in attendance today. Do you watch baseball by any chance, or did you in 2006?
I did, yeah. I especially knew about Brzezinski because the whole Chicago, like like White Sox versus Cubs dealio.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I knew of these guys, but whatever, yay. It's
Are you a
wrestling
Cubs
show.
or a White Sox guy?
I'm a Cubs guy.
Okay. So you were pretty heated when the Cardinals fellas came out, right?
Oh, 100%. Well, that's the thing though. I hated them. I hated everybody.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like,
That's actually
because we hate the Cardinals and we hate the White Sox. So for me, I was just hoping the ring set on fire. So.
That's actually a good point. So to set the scene, so Cornette is cutting a promo or whatever, and he welcomes out AJ Pierzynski and Dale Torborg of the White Sox. Dale Torborg, for anybody who's unaware, was the Demon in WCW, so he does actually have some wrestling experience. AJ Pierzynski comes out with an X Division title replica. This was given to him I think a year before this or something, because they did a whole thing with the X Division and it was a goofy little thing. And then the X Division guys gave him a title as a sign of respect or whatever. And he still has this title, so he's very proud of it, I guess. And then Cornette, after the White Sox guys come out, Cornette says he welcomes out the World Series champions, the Cardinals. Well, not the entire team, but the World Series MVP, David Eckstein, and his brother, what was his name? Rick Eckstein. I guess Eckstein has a new kids book out called Have Heart. Did you ever read Have Heart, Charlie?
Negative. Did you? Because you can tell me. Give me a clip notes of what happened there.
We should have just done a Have Heart retrospective, but he's here to plug his book, I guess. And Cornette's he's David Eckstein. Do you think David Eckstein knows what TNA is?
100% no. He was
Do you think he thinks it's the WWE?
Like the Rock's autograph. He's like, who are these people?
Cornette's like, all right, David, everybody knows you're a big TNA fan. And then David Eckstein's like, yeah, everybody knows my favorite is Rhino. He's like reading cue cards, it feels like. the fans are chanting "We want wrestling" at this, which is funny. I mean, it makes sense. So Cornette is interviewing David Eckstein. Eckstein's fumbling over his words, whatever. He's happy to be there. Meanwhile, Dale Torborg of the White Sox, the opposing baseball team, has Eckstein's kids book and is ripping pages out of it. He's disrespecting his child is his Have Heart novel, ripping the pages out of it. And then Eckstein's like, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing?" And then AJ Pierzynski is like, "Hey, you guys backed into that World Series. If the Tigers wouldn't have thrown all those balls over the baseball heat is hilarious. I think wrestling needs more of it. Pierzynski's like, "Hey, what are you, Dr. Seuss now, pal?" And then the baseball players brawl. And then Lance Hoyt comes out to save the Cardinals. He hits the boot on the Demon. And then hopefully we have a match coming out of this. But lots of tomfoolery here. Were you a big fan of it?
Not at all. Like, you know what I'm a fan of? Like, so the more that people bitch on Twitter about Jim Cornette, the more I watch his stuff and see like how good he is. Because he put over this, like, it was like, you know, the second coming of like fucking Tyson like in WWE. You know, he was just like just the way he presented this, he was good at what he did, and I was just like, man, Cornette, he can turn anything into gold. So that's the only thing I really got out of it. It's like, and then hoping it ended and did pretty quickly, so that's okay.
Because I'm looking at all these baseball players in the ring, and I'm like, well, surely some like heel's gonna come out and just destroy all of them. But no, we have an rivalry between the baseball players, which is like, whatever. I guess again, like any publicity is good publicity. I guess is what they're going for. The name value, the World Series champions. Theoretically, that would be a lot of press, which maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But I don't know if it really was effective in the long run. But we'll see what comes out of that. Hopefully, there's a nice Ultimate X match between these two guys.
God damn it!
But after that,
Monster Ball.
Speaking of monsters, we got a couple monsters here. We got Rhino and we got AJ Styles going one-on-one here. So this match came to be because Rhino is just coming off of his feud with his good friend Christian, or former friend, I should say. Very personal rivalry, very brutal rivalry. And AJ Styles afterwards was starting to get into kind of the same kind of rivalry with Christian. And Rhino went to AJ. He was like, "Hey, pal, don't make the same mistakes I made. Just leave it alone." And then AJ is like, "What are you, Dr. Phil? I don't need your advice, Rhino, if that is your real name." So AJ's starting to become this kind of dickhead. He's starting to get annoyed, frustrated, whatever it is. So AJ and Rhino have kind of come at odds, and now that's why we have this match. Rhino in the interview before the match is yelling about friendship or whatever the hell. And then AJ comes off camera and just clocks Rhino mid-interview. They start brawling, knocks over the cameraman. So we are left without visual of this brawl for what seemed like 10 minutes. I think it was like 2 minutes, but it was a very long time. We finally get a camera back there. They're still fighting backstage. What do you think about this? I guess the match in general, but just like the brawling atmosphere of this match, like fighting in the crowd and all that.
It was a nice gem for the people there. You know, like if I was there, like, oh, they just came right by me. Yeah, cool. But any of those spots never come off good on TV. It's just like, you know, punch kick. So it's like I could have done without it, but it's fine. You know, it's like I've been to shows where it's like the wrestlers come by you, and it's like one of the coolest parts of the show. You know, so yeah, right. I didn't think much of it at all. But I just remember the one spot where Rhino high back body drops AJ onto the ramp or something like that. My God, that was such a cool move, cool part of the match. And so there was like a lot of cool spots in this match. And yeah, I thought it was actually pretty good. Like, you know, this clash of styles. Oh my God.
Nice.
Fun.
It was a what? No, it was a what, Charlie? Say it again.
A clash of styles.
Nice. Good stuff.
Stop.
Good stuff.
But yeah, it was a clash. Like you're going to the match. It's like, okay, you got like one of the best wrestlers in the world, and you got like Gorefest Rhino. Like you're thinking like, how good of this match could it be? And like, no, this match was actually really freaking good match. So I'll give it to both of them. And same thing. Oh, you know what though? I lost track of the match halfway through because like it looks like AJ's pants ripped or something like that. Like he had like a hole by his ass the whole time.
Yeah.
I
That's
couldn't
a
stop
white
looking at
ass.
that hole. I couldn't stop looking at the hole the whole time. It was like
Couldn't stop looking at AJ's hole.
God damn. Like it could have been like a 6-star Dave Meltzer jack off match, and I'm like I couldn't even pay attention because I kept looking at like AJ Styles' ass the whole time. So it just reminds me of I'll tell a quick story. I went to a Ring of Honor event one time, it was second row, and Kevin Steen was going against I forgot who he was going against, but in the middle of the match, like so he had a band-aid under his armpit, right? And the band-aid came off, except one part was still dangling on the whole time. So there's a
Right.
he's got a dangling band-aid under his armpit. And like during the whole match, he put somebody in a headlock, and the fans were just yelling for the ref to pull off the band-aid because it was so distracting. Like I liken that to this match. Like and AJ, I mean Kevin Owens was Owenstein. He was just like he ignored everything. The fans kept saying throughout the whole match, "Pull the band-aid off, pull the band-aid off." He just kept wrestling like nothing happened. So that's what this match reminded me of.
That's such a funny way to get heat. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this dangling so it makes you uncomfortable watching. It's so good.
It's like, and
It's like
we were like yelling at the ref too, like ref, pull it off, and the ref was like looking at Kevin, who's like, should I pull it off?
those band-aids fucking stick there, man. There's no pulling those off.
I that's the one thing too. I was trying to watch to see like what the brand of band-aid it was because that shit stuck during like maybe 10 minutes of a fucking wrestling match.
Well, let me tell you this: the brand of Band-Aid is Band-Aid because it's a bandage. Band-Aid is it's the brand.
You're right.
It's like a Kleenex. It's fun.
100% right.
You know, it's like when people have like the Kinesio tape on their shoulders and then it like falls off, but they just wrestle it with it dangling like a fucking tail for an entire match. It's so oh god. But similar to that, I almost had the same exact note of his white ass on display. Like it doesn't matter what he does. Like he hits the most beautiful drop kick I've ever seen, but I don't care because I'm just like, why is your ass out? Like this is all I can pay attention to. But yeah, like that spot, the backdrop on the stage was gnarly. Like from one camera angle, because you saw how high AJ got and landed, but then the other camera angle showed how he landed. He landed like on his shoulder. It's like, how did it not pop out of the socket? And I do like, because this is a clash of styles, but AJ, I think it blends well because you have Rhino, who is just this big dude who ragdolls people, and AJ, who is just so good at getting ragdolled. So it's like when William Regal and RVD face each other. Like it just makes sense. Like they like exemplify their strengths against each other. So like when Rhino would hit like a belly to belly or a spine buster on AJ, just like that much more devastating. And AJ, who is newly heel, so he's like kind of just dipping his toes into the water from that character aspect. There's one point where Rhino's on the outside. AJ's about to go for a planche over the top rope, but he's like, nah, I'm not doing that. So he's very aware of his character, and I think he's like getting it over pretty well here. Towards the end, AJ goes for the Styles Clash, but Rhino counters it into a backdrop, sending AJ to the floor. AJ lands on his feet, but his knee pops. Oh my gosh, AJ's knee, he's injured. The trainers come out. They're all looking at his knee. AJ can't continue. So I'm sitting here watching this like, man, we were watching a great match. I wish we could see the finish, but I guess we're not because he's injured. He's absolutely not playing possum here, AJ. So AJ, the trainers start carrying him to the back. Rhino turns his back, and then AJ sprints into the ring, rolls up Rhino. Camera completely misses it. They just have the camera on the fucking ring announcer for whatever reason. Because they're about to call the match, I guess, is the thing. But AJ gets in there, rolls up Rhino, gets the quick, shitty victory, and skedaddles. So I thought this was a very effective match for the feud. I thought it was actually a pretty solid match in general, but I guess it exceeded my expectations. It was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like this match was a good like. There was a lot of high impact. There was like a high like you know, it was like
There's a high what?
impact. Oh,
Man, we're cooking with gas. We're cooking with gas now.
it was this match was total nonstop impact. Oh, okay. Um, nope, nope, no, don't. There's no actual crickets. Stop. but, but no, it was a good ass match. I guess it kind of got AJ over as a heel with the ending. It's like let's have an awesome match and then fuck it up and like in the end. So it is what it was, and like I actually enjoyed this match quite a bit. So
Yeah. No, yeah, like I said, effective. I think both guys looked good coming out of this and sets up a rematch, which I know eventually culminates into an Elevation X match. Do you remember that by any chance?
negative. I don't know what that is.
It's a scaffold match, which I believe is on Destination X. But it's like in the shape of an X, the scaffold. So we're leading to that, but that's like fucking 3 months away from this. So I guess we got a lot in the way of that. But well, Vince McMahon's here. That's crazy. He's backstage. He's walking around with his cock in his hand.
Oh god.
Because it's a chicken. It's in a cage. He's walking. Oh, there's my cock. So Vince is walking around because this is when they're doing, again, on WWE programming, they're doing the Vince Loves Cock shit with DX. So they're referencing that. I guess they're making fun of the fact that it's not funny, or maybe they're trying to be fun. I don't know. It's like, what is it, parody, or are you just trying to do the same thing? Kind of is how I felt. But again, just more threads leading to the VKM segment later in the show. But before that, we got ourselves a flag match. It's not a flag match. It's a flag ladder match. I'm sorry, it's not a flag ladder match. It's a flag reverse ladder match. The team of America's Most Wanted, Chris Harris and James Storm, versus the Latin American Exchange, Hernandez and Homicide. You got Gail Kim with AMW. You got Conan with LAX. What do you think of this match, like the stipulation conceptually?
I thought it was hilarious because like I think there was one point where commentary was like basically there's no rules except, and then Don West had to go into all the rules and it was
Except the very specific rules.
it went on forever. It's like you have to go to the other side of the ring, grab the opponent flag, grab your flag from them, then go up and hang it up, and like it was just I don't know, like whoever thought of it, way too much, putting a hat on a hat on a hat on a hat. So it's stupid, but other than that, the match is fun. Like I love the setup though. I love the prior to the match, like Conan's interview and like the video package. I thought was hilarious. Like I thought like Conan was like when he said AMW and Lucy Liu, that shit popped me.
Yeah,
and like oh go ahead. Sorry.
No, you good.
No, and like the other part I was like thinking was like like LAX has the advantage because because AMW's valet is Gail Kim and their valet is Conan, so it's like
Right.
yeah.
Gail Kim's
But
not American, I don't believe. I think she's Canadian and also Asian. So
yeah, 100%. So everyone's like saying USA, USA. She's like, well, whatever.
I'm indifferent to this. Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point in TNA, I would say LAX is probably the best act they got going. Maybe outside of the main event stuff, which we'll talk about. But from a character perspective, just great shit. I mean, they got massive heat. They're really playing into the politics going on in America at this point, with people crossing the border and people preventing it and all that stuff. So they're playing into it. In hindsight, it's like, all right. I mean, I guess you guys are making some good points, but AMW's coming out here like get out of my country kind of thing. So that's pretty much what this feud is. By the way, LAX are the tag team champions. I'm curious as to why the titles weren't on the line in this match. I guess it's not about titles, it's about patriotism, right? Because the winner of the match gets their national anthem played. So we got high stakes here. And as you mentioned, so the premise of this match is you gotta each team's flag the USA flag and the Mexico flag are in each corner of the ring. You got to grab your own flag off of the pole in the corner and then climb a ladder with the flag and then hang the flag up top in the middle of the ring where there's like a little pole in the middle. So it's a lot, like you said, it's a hat on a hat and a hat. I feel like any reverse ladder match is just stupid. Like the King of the Mountain stuff, it's just, I don't know, it just feels dumb. Like it's backwards like by nature, but it just doesn't feel like it works. But the match itself, I thought was actually, there were some pretty fun spots in here. Did any spots in particular catch your eye?
The violence against women.
Oh, of course, yeah. It was a trademark of mid 2000s.
Like, I thought, like, I remember I did that last podcast with you when I think it was Michael Shane like super kicked the daylights out of Trinity or something like that. This match, this match had that where like Homicide and like Conan like beating the living daylights out of Gail Kim, so I thought it was hilarious. But no, when Hernandez like catapults Harris into a ladder like over his head. I'm trying to
the Cracker Jack.
Yes, that part. I thought that was amazing. Or the sunset bomb off the ladder, like Storm did one to Hernandez. I thought that was fucking insane. Homicide hitting the cutter from the top off of onto Harris. So like they did some really cool shit in this match, and like I can see why you're saying LAX was one of the top there because like they put in a big fight feel. It come from their music, their entrance, like their style of matches. Like it's a big. I could watch more LAX matches all day. So yeah.
I mean, for me, like, because I've been watching Homicide in his early days of Ring of Honor, it just makes me appreciate Homicide and TNA that much more. Hernandez is a fucking beast. He was in Ring of Honor as well too, and he's just a monster. But yeah, like I mean, it's a really pretty hard hitting match amongst all of the nonsensical stipulations and weirdness behind it. Gail Kim she has a big part in this match herself in the beginning. She hits a moonsault off the top rope to the floor on the Homicide. And sometime later in the match, she hits a missile drop kick onto Homicide again. So she's become a big part of this. I mean, she got power bombed by Hernandez on Impact. They showed that clip of her it was the border toss where she got thrown like all the way across the ring and landed on her neck. So she has as much of a gripe as Harris and Storm do. But towards the end of the match, so each team, they try grabbing their flag, but they're stopped before they can hang it. So everybody's down at one point, and Gail Kim grabs the American flag and goes to hang it herself. But then Conan comes in, punches her right in the ovaries, knocks her off the ladder. And so Conan's about to beat on Gail Kim, but then Petey Williams comes out to make the save, who is become like a USA, what do you call it? What was Sergeant Slaughter? What was the word? Sympathizer. Petey Williams has become a USA sympathizer over the past few weeks, even though his whole gimmick is I'm Canadian and I hate America. But we've moved past that. We don't talk about old shit. He goes to hit the Canadian Destroyer on a Conan, which I'm watching this. I'm like, there's no way Conan's taking that fucking bump. Hernandez breaks it up, saves Conan, beats on Petey Williams, and then just casually leaps over the top rope on the James Storm. Hernandez is just a freak, man. And at some point, I think it's Harris and Homicide are battling on top of the ladder. They both have like one notch of their flag hung on the middle post. They both need to just get that other side of the flag to win the match. But then James Storm comes out with a beer bottle, hits Homicide in the back of the head with the beer bottle, but the glass of the beer bottle goes into the eye of Chris Harris, taking him out of this match completely. And this allows Hernandez to take advantage, takes out James Storm, hangs the Mexican flag, and LAX wins through all of this shenanigans. And then the Mexican anthem plays, which I've never heard the Mexico national anthem before. What were your thoughts on their anthem?
I was just wondering, like, it's just really long. Like,
it's too much. Like, we get it. Mexico. Tacos, right?
Yes.
It's like, please agree with me.
No, I'm with you. I'm with
Uh,
Yeah, for me, it just kept going. I was like, oh man, is this how long the American national anthem is? Because like for me, I was like,
I
damn, this
couldn't
is
know.
taking a while. I could have went to go take a piss, but I just liked how the fans were respectful. You know what I mean? Like a part of me was like, oh my god, they're just fans
Hmm.
gonna start doing the Mexican anthem and it's gonna look
Right.
bad. But the fans kind of just put their hand over their hearts, like, okay, we'll listen to this. So I thought it was a good touch, and then that was it. You know, a
I
part of
mean,
me is like, oh, go ahead.
no, I was about to say, I was watching this and I took a knee in my living room personally, listening to it. So
I actually Shazammed it so I could like listen to it later, and I was also worried about Homicide because it's like, isn't he Puerto Rican? It's like, oh, why can't you play my
close enough, pal. Wait, no, Vince isn't here. Well, there is a Vince here actually, so maybe he thinks the same way.
Well, I
Um,
mean, Joaquin Wild is is that his name? Joaquin Wild is
yeah, yeah,
is fucking part of LWO, and he's like half Filipino.
yeah. Isn't he like all Filipino?
Oh, I guess so.
Maybe, I don't know. I remember looking it up recently. I couldn't find any Latin heritage. I guess Filipinos, the origins are kind of similar, so it's fine. I guess you're brown. It's whatever.
Yeah, right.
I'm a Filipino, everybody, so I can say that. But yes, homicide. He has a bloody. His back of his head is all bloody because of the beer bottle. So he's just sitting there with a towel on the back of his head, with his hand on his heart, listening to this anthem. I don't know. I thought the anthem was kind of cheeks, personally, but I digress. After the match, James Storm is pissed because he thinks Chris Harris quit on him, even though the glass from his bottle went into his eye, and that's why he couldn't do anything. So James Storm demands an apology on Impact this Thursday from Chris Harris. So I guess we're done with AMW at this point. But what a way to go out, huh?
Yeah, made me want to watch Impact on that Thursday.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong there, pal. Well, we got virtually the main event. We got VKM coming out here. Well, it's their music, but it's Michael Hickenbottom and Paul Levesque come out, which I thought was weird. You know, why were they coming out to VKM's music? So they come out to the. I thought this was actually like a really good cosplay by Road Dogg and Billy Gunn because they had like the face mask, like the what do you call it? It's like glued to your face kind of mask.
Yeah.
I thought Road Dogg looked a lot like Triple H, like the wrinkles on his forehead, all that shit. Boy, where do we even begin here? So DX comes out. They're doing, you know, let's get ready to suck it shtick, all that. And then the Spirit Squad comes out, or whatever they're calling these cheerleaders. The cheerleaders come to the ring. BG James and Kip James knock all of the cheerleaders out with crotch chops. So they do the crotch chop and it blasts the cheerleaders out of the ring. And then they call out a fat, oily guy, quote unquote, to which a man who is obviously parodying, what was his name? Big Dick Johnson, had been on WWE TV.
Yep.
I don't know why the camera got so close to his ass. Like they were in there on this fella. And then the fat oily guy gets in the ring. What happens? I think they hit the sweet chin music on him or something, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, he hits it. They get the guy to hit the sweet chin music on one of the cheerleaders.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a lot going on. So the whole segment is premised on like, okay, so VKM's like, okay, there's parody and then there's real or whatever they said. So they do all this goofy shit, which I don't know. What'd you think of all like the stuff leading up to the promo, I guess?
I mean, I didn't expect to see a colonoscopy like before the match, but here we are. And then like after that, no, like I was mildly interested for a second when Road Dogg, whatever, BG James start talking. But it's right. But then it's like, you know, it sounds like he's got like a very high inflated sense of self-worth because it's him. You know, I'm like, dude, you're BJ James and they are Triple H and HBK. So whatever you're saying, I don't give a fuck. You want to like shoot and like yell and scream and all
Mhm.
this other stuff. It's like, all right, here's my platform. I'm gonna go to the number 3 company and start talking shit to you. Was it 2, 3?
Probably
So
two at this point.
what's that?
Uh, you said, are they number 2 or number 3?
Yeah, like
I'll say
are they
TNA
the
is probably
number?
number 2.
Okay, so the number 2 company, blah blah blah, and like I don't know, it just fell on deaf ears for me. Like and then I guess they challenged DX to a match for $1 million. The only thing $4 million, I don't know, something like that. And like the only thing I care to know is like, did anything ever happen? I doubt it, you know. And yeah, it just came off as like some like guy, like just bitching and moaning, and I was like not interested. So
Yeah, no, that's my thought too. Like, I don't really remember what comes of this. I mean, obviously they don't have a match. I don't know
yeah,
if there's like a cease and desist thing that comes into play, because I think VKM just kind of like fades away eventually. But yeah, like you said, they tear off the masks, they get serious, and then BG James he calls Vince a hypocrite because, when Road Dogg and Billy Gunn were a part of WWF, they did the same kind of stuff to WCW. And apparently, BG James is like, I guess Vince McMahon is threatening to sue them for this, which I don't remember. Maybe that's a thing. But Road Dogg's like, hey, $1 million challenge, $1 million for Triple H and Shawn Michaels to come here and fight us. And he says, no angles, no spots, no finish. It's not a wrestling match. It's just going to be a fight. And he ends his promo with, answer the challenge or prove that you're a gutless piece of shit. So it's there's some intensity behind it, but like I mean, I don't think anything ever comes of it. I don't even know if there's like true heat between Billy Gunn and Road Dogg and Shawn Michaels and Triple H, because I mean, I guess they were friends at some point. I guess they are now. So I don't know if there's actual heat. I don't know what the situation is there, but it's like, what's the end game here? Ultimately, I guess their end game is to try to get them on Impact, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, or whatever, but it never happens. And like you said earlier, it's if it reeks of desperation. While
yeah.
it's kind of entertaining in the moment, it does make them feel like definitely the number 2 at best.
I mean, when you look at DX, like who do you think of? You think of Triple H, you think of HBK.
Mm.
It's like these guys are just fucking, the lackeys. It feels like, so it's like you got the lackeys like, oh, I'm ready to fight, blah blah. It's like, it's nothing I want to see. So yeah, whatever. It happened, and good for them.
It did happen. You're not wrong about that. Well, we got the NWA World Title on the line here in a 3-way match. We got the champion Abyss taking on Sting and Christian Cage. I have zero recollection of Abyss being world champion. I'd been thinking that he was never the world champion in TNA, but he won it at the last pay-per-view by disqualification, which is just, of course, why wouldn't he?
Figures.
But the backstory here, so Abyss and Sting had a match at the last pay-per-view, like I said. It got pretty brutal. Sting, he was using tacks, and he hung Abyss by his feet like a piece of meat and beat him with a chair. He knocked him into barbed wire, which caused him to get disqualified. But then on Impact, the week after, Sting's like, hey, Abyss, why are you letting James Mitchell carry you around, pull you around like a dog? I see a man behind that mask. So he's trying to be sympathetic to Abyss, whereas Christian Cage on the outside is like, look, I don't give a shit what you guys through your after school special bullshit. I should be the number 1 contender. I deserve that title. So Christian and Sting had a number 1 contenders match on Impact, which I believe ended in like a double disqualification or some sort of no contest. So Jim Cornette made this a triple threat match. Also, by the way, Tyson Tomko has debuted in TNA as Christian's problem solver, kind of, just mirroring what they did in WWE. So Tomko's here now, and apparently Tomko and Abyss have a past. Tomko knows a secret about Abyss. I don't really remember what that secret is, but they're teasing that. They got Mitchell is, abusing his power over Abyss. Sting is here. So there's a lot of extra pieces and extra webs like on the storyline. But I don't know. What did you think of the match itself? I'm curious.
Um, well, all I gotta say is like I can't watch AEW Sting. TNA Sting wasn't pretty good either. You know, it was just like you could tell it was a former shell of himself. It was just like
Yeah.
'cause the Stinger Splash. I remember watching when he was like bleach blonde, like green tights, like flying around doing the cool Stinger Splash. Whereas this one was like you barely got like any air. It was kind of like kind of
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's like he was on his tippy toes and like doing Stinger splashes. And even he did a dive onto Abyss and Christian, and I wouldn't call it a dive. I literally would call him falling on somebody because he just
Yeah.
kind of like plopped on them. So it's like so I was like, all right, you know, like I hate watching these like guys. I was like not in their prime in the ring. You know, it's like it
Hmm.
kind of bugs me out. I'm just hoping for the one day like NBA ratings goes down. And they're like, all right, Julius Irving, get in there. You know, like you know, you're Tyson, like you know, like, boxing is getting bad, so like, let's throw Tyson in there. You know, it's like
Didn't Tyson just fight like a few years ago against
you know what?
Evander Holyfield?
I don't know if he did. I glad I didn't
I'm
see it.
pretty sure that's a thing that happened. Somebody call
Oh
it if you
my
know.
Oh my god! It was what did Tyson bite this time? Evander, yeah, I mean, Evander's just holding his nuts like anywhere but here. But
Well, he has
anyway,
2 ears now, so.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Let me even that out for you. But like anyway, well, sorry. Yeah. So it was not my favorite match. I was there's this one part of the match I thought was hilarious where like Abyss was beating the shit out of both Christian and Sting, and like
Mhm.
James Mitchell goes, "Follow the plan," and I'm like, "Dude, Abyss is whooping the ass. What's the plan?
Mm.
Follow the plan." And like he's like, "Okay," he's
Well,
stomping.
Abyss wants to be his own man, you see. So
Yeah,
he doesn't do what James Mitchell tells him to do, but he kind of does. So he's conflicted. Abyss is. So I guess this is more of just like an interpersonal match for Abyss rather than anything else.
yeah,
So they got that over, I guess, in a sense. But I don't know the match itself. I felt so. I watched this match last night, and I felt when the match finished, I was like, did I fall asleep during this match? Did I fall asleep with my eyes open? Because I don't remember a goddamn thing that happened. And then right before we got on here, I like skimmed through it again. I watched it again. First of all, it's only like 10 minutes long for the
yeah.
world title match. It's like everything happened, but also nothing happened in this match. It was just like, I don't know. It was a triple threat match. So by nature, it's going to be kind of chaotic. I guess the theme here is because Sting and Abyss never really came to blows until the end. So it was like Christian and Abyss went at it. And then Abyss got taken out by Tomko, and then Christian and Sting went at it. And then it all kind of breaks down at the end. Tomko pulls the ref at some point. I think Sting hits the Scorpion Death Drop on a Christian, and then Tomko pulls the ref. Tomko's as much of a part of this match as anybody else is. Him and Abyss go at it. It's whatever. Tomko gets taken out. And then, like you said, Abyss goes to choke slam Sting. But James Mitchell says, no, don't do it. And then he pulls out his black bag. He's like, lay these out first. It's like, maybe choke slam them and then lay the tacks out. I don't know. But so Abyss takes it. He's kind of reluctant. He ends up laying the tacks in the middle of the ring. Goes to choke slam Sting. Meanwhile, Sting's like, no, please don't choke slam me. He's like asking very politely, like, hey, please don't choke slam me in these thumbtacks. Can't you just like fight out of it, maybe, Sting? I don't know. But maybe he's still sympathetic to it, but I don't know. It's a lot of layers to this, I guess. Sting asks him not to, but Christian comes in, chair to Abyss, or chair to Sting. I don't know, maybe chairs both of them. Abyss ends up getting curb stomped face first into the tacks by Tomko. Tomko gets knocked out by Sting. It was hard to follow towards the end, but ultimately, Abyss goes to hit the black hole slam on Abyss, but as he like swings him around, he like knocks him into Christian, which knocks Christian out of the ring. Hits the black hole slam on Sting. I couldn't tell if he was trying to land in the tacks or not, but he completely misses the tacks that are in the middle of the ring. And Abyss gets the win. So it was kind of a clunky finish here, but I don't know. This match didn't really do much for me, honestly. Other than the story, I guess.
It sucked. The only interesting part was to see like who's going to go into attacks, and the answer was no one. So it's like, okay, good.
Yeah, like tax can be like a really good, because there's always like that tense moment of like, oh, who's gonna fall in it? But like, I guess Abyss kind of rubbed his face in it a little bit, which is brutal in its own right. But it seemed like they were going for that to be the finish, and it's the fact that they missed the big pile of tax completely is just the most TNA thing to ever happen. So, but
in a nutshell,
yeah. So, but that brings us to the main event, which I would argue this whole show like was on the back of this main event, because I thought, so we got Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe, the rematch. So this is their second match. They had a match at Genesis to pay-per-view before this, where Kurt Angle broke Samoa Joe's 18-month winning streak. And Kurt Angle, like in the video package before this, he's like, hey, when I was in the Olympics, or when I was amateur wrestling, I lost to this Iranian guy, and I ended up facing him in the finals and beating him. So if I was able to get a second chance, I should be able to give a second chance to Samoa Joe, who's one of the best in the world. So that's kind of why we're having this rematch here. But Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, thoughts?
Oh Jesus! Oh man, like it was the epitome of wrestling for me. It's like the match wasn't that long, but at the same time, it's like exactly why I love wrestling. Like these two just put on a fucking clinic. They were so good. Like from the beginning, like where they're going back and forth. Like they were going hard right away. Like holy shit! Like like Samoa Joe's like elbow suicida from the middle rope, and that happened like maybe like a minute into the fucking match. So these guys just went at it. It was beautiful. Like I didn't even care who won. I just want to see a good fucking match, and they brought it. So I was surprised with like all the outside part of the match, but that was just like in the beginning of the match. Like I figured they would keep it in the ring, but it didn't matter to me. It was awesome.
Yeah, that caught me off guard too, like in the beginning, because like other than like the suicide dive by Joe, I felt like it was kind of a slow start to this match. Like you said, they were like brawling on the outside, which is like that's not what we want from Angle versus Joe. But that is also a thing that happened in their first match, and Angle ended up getting busted open on the steel steps. So I didn't know if that was like an homage to that, or if it was like Kurt Angle was trying to do the same to Joe, but no one ended up bleeding in this match. So I don't know. But no, I completely agree. This is just like these guys fighting each other. It just feels genuine. Like it feels like a genuine competition. It feels like these guys like respect each other, but don't like each other. And I feel like that really comes into play at the end of this match, which I thought like the intensity, the way it like built throughout the entire match was awesome. Because like it kind of starts off a little slow, and then we start like kind of get introduced to the suplexes. Joe hits Kurt with a beautiful release German that sends Kurt ass over tea kettle, landing on his face. But then Angle tries to go tit for tit, hits a triple German onto Joe. And then from there, it's just like a lot of counters, a lot of just sliding out of moves that they maybe saw in the first match that they have scouted, which is like Wrestling 101. So the way this match built on their first match, I thought was really good. Like Joe would go for the muscle buster. Then Kurt counters that by like rolling him up into a sunset flip, but then picking the ankle on the way down. And then Joe would get to the ropes, but then Kurt would hit the ankle slam for a 2 count, and locks in the ankle lock again. But then Joe like pulls him in from the ankle lock into the coquina clutch. But then Kurt like picks the ankle as he's in the choke to lock in the ankle lock. There's one point like towards the end where Joe, he like counters the ankle lock again into the choke. Kurt is about to like fade. He's like, I thought the match might have been over here. But then as he's about to fade, he picks the ankle again and then locks the grapevine in on the ankle lock. So it's like, oh, well, this surely is it. Which I thought at this point there was a lot of really good drama. Like on all the submissions, like it felt like it could feasibly be the finish. So I thought the drama was really good in this match. But of course, there has to be a ref bump at some point because it's a TNA main event. So the ref's down. Joe locks in the choke. Kurt Angle taps, but there's no referee. So Joe gets up to try to wake up the ref, and then Kurt Angle punts Samoa Joe right in his stupid balls from behind, which I didn't see coming. I didn't think we'd get, but I guess it's supposed to, Kurt Angle's, he knows how desperate he has to get because he just tapped out. So he's like, I need to pull something out here.
Yeah.
So Kurt punts him right in the balls from behind and then grabs a chair and swings it at Joe, but Joe ducks and Kurt hits the ropes with the chair. The chair hits himself in the face. Joe locks in the choke again, or he like has him by the neck. He hasn't pulled him down yet. Kurt like lunges for the ropes to try to like prevent him from going down. Almost gets there, but then Joe pulls him back into the choke. And then Kurt Angle tries to pick because he's been getting into this choke, but then picking the ankle of Joe while in the choke to lock in the ankle lock. So he tries to do that again, but Joe like moves his foot or whatever. So Kurt isn't able to get out of this one, and it eventually has to tap out for the second time in this match. And then a little like detail I like is that Joe like held on to the choke after, because if it wasn't for the dick punch or the chair, like Joe might have just let go because it's competition, but he's like, no, I saw what you tried to do. I'm gonna cinch this in just a little bit longer. And so Joe wins. So now we're 1-1 in the series here. So I assume there's gonna be a rubber match of some sort, but yeah, there's just like a level of, hey, fuck you, buddy, in this match, which I liked to accompany the great wrestling. So I thought this was awesome.
Yeah, like that now that they're 1-1, they're gonna make it into like a best of 7, so that's fine with me. But like,
Right.
no, the submission spots were great. Like, just like you're at the edge of your seat, just waiting to see if anyone's gonna tap, and you see the crowd going nuts the whole time. The underhand tactics was kind of like, I wish I didn't see it just because it's like, it's their Kurt Angle versus Joe, and you don't want like that kind of bullshit. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, whoever came up with that spot, like, hey, I'm gonna make it look like I want you to pretend to hit yourself with the chair, sort of like, and Kurt Angle went along with it. I'm just like, all right, dude, like you guys are doing a masterpiece here, and you just get like marred with that silliness, but it's okay. Like I love that little touch, like you alluded to, where like Samoa Joe held on longer because of that. So it's like at least there's continuation, follow up. Things are making sense, and yeah, I was happy as hell to have watched it. So
yeah, I mean, would you agree that this is the best thing TNA is doing at this point?
Well, once again, like my my knowledge of TNA wasn't that good at the moment.
Well, just based on the show, from what you've seen.
100%. Yeah. By far, it was great. Like I'm with you with the whole LAX thing. The paparazzi business was like, it's like, even though it's silly, I'd love to watch it again. But leaps and bounds. Angle versus Joe was just awesome, and I really wish I was watching TNA during this time because like to see this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's the last thing you see too as the show closes out, so it leaves a good taste in your mouth, I guess.
Yes.
Because before there wasn't a lot of good before this, so I was prepared to just shit all over the show, but this is the last thing you see, so it's like, oh, it's kind of an okay show, I guess. But I don't know if you had to give this like a A to F. If you had to grade this show, what do you think you would give it?
I'd give it a C, maybe a B. Like let's say B minus, because like it was entertaining, but at the same time, like it could have done way, like the VKM bullshit, the wrestling comedy is probably the worst thing I've ever seen. Almost as bad as newsroom comedy. It's like, it's like it's just got no place. Just stick to what you're good at. Yeah, I would definitely give it a B minus, and like it could have been way better, but then the Angle match just brought it right back up.
Yeah, I mean that
Oh,
main event probably brought it up to lighter grades, I would say.
yeah. So are you? Where are you at? Like, what grade would you give it?
I'd probably give it like a C plus, maybe, just
Okay.
because, like, god damn, pal, there was like nothing. I mean, not to say there was nothing, but there was just so much stupid shit before this. It wasn't bad. It was TNA tends to be like kind of like there's not like a terrible show and a great show. Like they're kind of like consistent. Um,
Okay.
but this is like a particularly like an era where there's just a lot of the crash TV shit, or you get the full brunt of Russo in this time period. So sometimes it's fine, sometimes it's not. There's a lot of not on this show, but at least we got some baseball players. So
Yeah. Man, Russo has been hanging his hat a long time off the NWO stuff because, like, ever since then, whatever he touches, like, been whack. It's been,
well, I don't
like,
think that was. I think Russo was in WWF at that point, wasn't he?
was he?
Well, I think Russo had a lot involved with like Stone Cold and stuff. I think.
Oh well, I mean, then good for him on that because like Stone Cold was like the best thing in wrestling for a long time. So
Mm-hmm.
power to you, Russo. Not in this case with TNA. You doucher.
I think AEW needs Vince Russo. Vince Russo.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, shit, because even like I love they could use. I love Strickland versus Hangman Page, but still it doesn't get me like in the door. Like I still can't watch
Yeah.
AEW right now.
You didn't tune into Rampage to see three luchadors versus three other guys.
I have no idea who these people are.
Nobody does. Nobody does. But
Okay, you know, like I'm kind of interested now to see what these luchadors are, but nah, forget it.
I mean, it was like Penta, El Hijo, and Commander. So it's like, but it's like every week it's just like, I don't know. It's the same kind of stuff.
Like just a quick aside. Like I went to an AEW show, and like after that, I can't watch any Penta matches because it was just like move, Cero Miedo, move, Cero Miedo, and like nothing ever made sense. So it was just like hit a move, get back up, hit a move, get back up. At least with this show in TNA, a lot of it made sense, and it was a big fight feel throughout because like the whole X Factors thing, they presented themselves as a real fucking wrestling company, as opposed. I mean, like Eric Young aside, this show showed me that TNA like they took themselves seriously, and I loved it.
Yeah, I will say like TNA, like even if stuff didn't really hit, there was like intent behind everything.
Yes.
Like the
Yes.
paparazzi stuff. We're trying to develop characters for the X division for future title matches. Eric Young and the bikini contest. We're establishing Rude as a top heel. Eric Young's super popular. We're taking advantage of that. Tits is always a good detail or whatever. A cherry on top. Two cherries on top. X Division title match. Yeah. Queens of the Mountains for sure.
There you go.
So like every match here felt like it was, a story was developing. I mean, this show felt like a big seed planter. Like it felt like we're building to more matches, but Kurt versus Joe will leave me nice and turgid to end this. But speaking of turgid, I'm turgid for you for coming on the show once again. Hungover, gay, vomit at your feet, all of that stuff.
Literally.
Appreciate you coming on down there in South Kakalaki. Where can do you have anything to plug at this point?
Not at all. I mean, I'll always till like as long as I'm like on here, I'm gonna plug like GETCHO podcasts because they're always kill it. They're always amazing. They're always good. I still listen to them quite a bit, so definitely I'll plug them if I can. I'll just plug you again because your reviews are always on point, fun, like and like anybody you bring on are really good. So I don't really got anything to plug. Like if you want to follow me, I mean, I think I'm still Charlie Be Bad, so a little homage to Johnny B. Bad, of course, because that guy was awesome. I gotta love him, and he had Sable. He had Sable.
Sable or Tracy Brooks?
He had Tracy Brooks.
No, I'm saying Sable or Tracy Brooks.
Oh, I gotta choose one.
Yes.
Oh my god! Like I don't know. It's like I'm walking in Silicon Valley here.
I never.
Go ahead.
No, I was about to say I never really got Tracy Brooks. So weird as maybe she kind of looks like my mom a little bit, like minus the tits.
Yeah,
maybe that's why.
Pictures, or I don't believe you. Tracy Brooks. I mean, like obviously she's attractive, but like not for me. I guess I was a big Sable fan back in the day. Like as a kid, seeing Sable on screen, she was just, to me, hot as hell. Even though she looked like she was like 45 at that point, but
see, I thought Tracy Brooks kind of always looked like 40. You know, like even like in Ring of Honor time period.
Yeah, and like same thing. It looks like her face is kind of like getting sucked in, like slowly into her nose. So I wasn't. Yeah, I'm not here to like. No, she wasn't that hot. But anyway,
didn't CM Punk date her for a bit?
I'm sure he did. I mean, he did his rounds. He was dating like basically everybody there. Like
I mean, he probably dated you for a bit, right?
I mean, let's just say I would have definitely put out for him if we ever did.
Yeah.
I wanted that CM junk because he's a CM hunk, and then I want someone that CM spunk, and then because that's so Raven.
Once again, thank you to Charlie for hopping back on the Apron Bump, talking some TNA wrestling. Go check out Charlie. Go check out the GETCHO podcast. All of that in the description. You know the deal. Check me out if you want. If you've made it this far, might as well just follow me on all the social medias at Apron Bump all across the board. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, Facebook, MySpace, Omegle. Actually, I think they just shut down Omegle. Am I wrong? I think I read that somewhere. Damn. Rest in peace, pedophiles, I guess. But yeah. I think it's about that about does it. Thank you for popping in here and giving me a gander. Two goose is a gander. What's the saying? What's good for the goose is good for the gander, and what's good for you is to goose me. I don't know. Isn't that like grabbing somebody's balls? What does it mean to goose somebody? That's a thing. What? I mean, if you've made it this far, I think we're just hanging out at this point, right? What does it mean to goose someone? Let me tell you. It means to poke. Definition. To poke between the buttocks to startle. To prod or urge to action or an emotional reaction. The promise of time off may goose the workers and wait, hold on. I think I got confused there. So if you put your finger in somebody's ass, then you increase profits? What? I don't know. Well, goose me. I mean, this all seems great. Like every element of this seems like a positive. So give me a goose, give me a gander. That's what I say. That's a t-shirt. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Love you all. Big smooches all around. I'm hard.
Yeah.
It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong.